faces and open doors when everyone else seems so serene, and I just feel so insecure. And where do I go when all the pieces of my heart lay on the floor? You say, come into the light, why don't you? Come into the light, why don't you? Come on now, come into the light. Where do I go with all? Good evening. Welcome. My name is Rona, for those who don't know me. And welcome to this Thursday evening, ongoing Thursday evening series. Tonight's session is on meditating minds, and once a month we try to have a Thursday evening focusing specifically on meditation. So we will explore meditation, and we will explore different exercises together, so that you can get a taste of the meditation as we practice it here at the Brahma Kumaris. But first, a few words on meditation itself. Meditation is a word and a practice that has become very popular in the past 10, 15 years or so. More and more people are practicing meditation, more and more people are wanting to practice meditation, more and more people are finding out about meditation. But having said that, it is useful to understand that there are many different types of meditation and many different techniques of meditation, and also different aims or achievements of meditation. So meditation, what has become very popular the past few years is what is called mindfulness. And the mindfulness practice of meditation, or the practice of mantras, repeating mantras. So when one person says meditation, I am meditating, and another person says I'm meditating, it doesn't mean they're talking about the same thing and they're doing the same things. And so the specific meditation that we practice and that we teach here at the Brahma Kumaris is called Raj Yoga meditation. And Raj Yoga means the yoga, the connection to become a king. Raja means king or master. And in this context, not a king with a crown and a throne and giving out some orders. But in this context, Raja means master of the self, a king of the self. And a master, so what is this self? You can also say. The self means the one who is ruling the mind. The mind is that function within us that creates thoughts and creates feelings and holds a certain attitude. Now, are you master of your thoughts? Or are your thoughts master of you? So this type of meditation, Raj Yoga meditation, has the aim, within that aim is to be master of your own mind. To simplify this means that you choose what you think and how long you think what you think. And that is one part of this meditation. It is also master of the senses. Yeah, so we see, but we're not distracted by what we're seeing. We hear, but we're not distracted by what we're hearing. Then you're a master. Your tongue, you're not attracted to food. If you eat when there is time to eat and however much is required to eat, but not the tongue decides and the taste decides what and how much and when you eat, but also what comes out of your mouth. Means, are you a master of your words? Do you say what you mean, and do you say only words that are uplifting? So this concept of a master of the self, king of the self, has all these aspects. Master of your thoughts, master of your feelings, master of your senses also. Because many times what we see can distract us, or not only distract us, it can even dictate our thoughts. There's something happening on Fifth Avenue, making a lot of noise. Am I distracted by that, or do I go and look what it is and then have a whole lot of thoughts about what is happening out there? Or do I choose? what to think, how to think. So Raj Yoga meditation is to become that master of yourself. Do you respond in a way that you would want to respond, in a way that is useful and beneficial to all, to situations, to things? Do you respond with clarity, with calm, with compassion? Or do you just react and blow up or blow out or get depressed or get sad and create more problem for yourself in the first place? So that aspect of the meditation technique where you become master over yourself. Another level of aim of this meditation is to begin to understand yourself not as a human being, but as a spiritual being. A spiritual being that temporarily uses this body to experience this physical world. To begin to understand the separation between the body and the human game and the self as a spiritual being who is a guest in this body, a guest on this planet, a traveler through time and space, a spiritual being who is invisible, invisible being of consciousness. And this is what is this? The human, the costume, the vehicle. But the real you cannot see. You can see the car, the vehicle. But the real you is an invisible experiencer, a being of consciousness. So the aim of this meditation is also to shift that sense of identity from mortal, human, to immortal, spiritual being of light. And in that awareness, which we call soul consciousness, it becomes easy to experience the presence of the Supreme. So all these are levels that you can experience, different areas of meditation. But this is the aim of Raj Yoga. Okay, just in short, brief. If you want to know more and learn more on the different topics of Raj Yoga and deepen the meditation, we have courses and ongoing sessions. But today we're just gonna play with this topic of pausing, physically pausing, but also to pause your mind and to just withdraw your attention from the external and from the physical. And just create that awareness of the self as light. And training some concentration power. Okay? The power to pause. Okay, so let's take a few minutes for this first exercise, and I will just initially guide. I'll suggest some thoughts and see if you can, use those thoughts to guide your own mind. Simple, not anything flashy, elaborate, some simple practices. Okay. So we keep the body comfortable. The back straight. And let the feet gently relax. If you're sitting upright, you can let them relax on the floor. And just withdraw your attention from the things that have happened during the day. And bring your attention in this moment, right here, right now. And just become aware of the posture of the body. Nothing forceful, but just aware that the body is sitting upright. Consciously relax the hands and the shoulders. Become aware of the rhythm of your breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And just allow the external quiet and silence influence your mind also. We don't need so many thoughts. Maybe just keep in your mind an image of light. Like a star. And just fill your mind with that image of a star of subtle, serene light. And just hold that image in the mind and no other thoughts. Just subtle, serene, sparkling star of light. While keeping the body quiet and peaceful, relaxed. Keeping the awareness of the rhythm of your breathing. Inhale and exhale. And just allow the mind to just let go also of all those many thoughts. And just stay with this one thought and image of a beautiful sparkling star. Of pure, peaceful light. And as we gradually choose to come to the end of this concentration exercise, we aim to hold the mind in this more gentle rhythm. and not allow the mind to be flooded with all kinds of thoughts. Thank you. So how was the concentration? Good. 100%? Who had 100%? 80%? 90%? Very good. It's not to judge yourself or just to observe. Part of the meditation journey is also to get to know yourself and to get to know your mind and how your mind works and how you can optimize the dynamics of your mind. Now, we have what we call intellect also. So the mind is that faculty that produces thoughts. All kinds of thoughts come in our mind, all kinds of feelings come in our mind. A certain attitude and intentions is also the workings of the mind. Certain vibration, a certain mood is created in your mind based on the thoughts that we have. But there is another function within our psyche, which is called the intellect. And the intellect is your wisdom. The intellect is your perspective on life, on self. The intellect is your discerning and deciding power. And the intellect is the one that needs to steer the mind. So if in the mind a thought comes, the intellect should say this is a useful or a useless thought. And if it is a useless thought, the intellect says, no, let's let go of that thought. So we have to simplify it, to understand it. We have two types of intellect. We have that wise intellect, or we have that weak intellect, that confused intellect. And with meditation or on a spiritual journey, you more and more choose that wise intellect to rule the mind, to steer your mind. Wise, another word that is used for this is a Hindi word, I think even Sanskrit, paras. Wise is a good translation, wise intellect. Now, many of us may have not been using that wise intellect. We have been using maybe that confused and weak intellect. And so the mind creates all kinds of thoughts, and the intellect says, okay, whatever is fine. Our intellect says, I don't know what is right, what is wrong. Think whatever. So then the mind becomes a chaos. With meditation, you consciously use your wisdom and your guiding power to choose what thought to have, what thought not to have. Does it make sense? And these are all your psychic functions. We live in a world and we live in a society that doesn't inspire us, doesn't encourage us, doesn't teach us how our psyche works, basically. Even, for example, in medical school, they hardly teach us about the mind or about the intellect. Even in psychology, psychiatry, they don't really much focus on the inner workings of our psyche. So we are left to ourselves to explore this and learn and experiment with this. Meditation is about strengthening your intellect, using that wise intellect and empowering your wisdom through knowledge, through practice, through these kinds of sessions, and guide your mind to think uplifting thoughts, to think spiritual thoughts, to think positive thoughts. Who is the one who puts thoughts in your mind? Yourself. So if your thoughts are harassing you, who is doing that? It, it means you are not using your own powers to sort out and to say no to these thoughts and yes to these thoughts. Okay? Go ahead. Yeah. Decide, choose. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So all of that is the function of our intellect. But if we don't have enough knowledge and wisdom, then we can't discern. Yeah, yeah, you have to discern this is a useful thought, this is not a useful thought. And then you choose, I'm going with this one, and I'm dropping that one. How you know what is a useful thought? Is that what the question is? And what is not a useful thought? Um, Maybe just a small insight into the different types of thoughts we have and how to distinguish. So there are 5 types of thoughts, 5 categories of thoughts. One is necessary thoughts, general thoughts of organizing your life. 6 o'clock is the meditation at the meditation center, and I want to go today. That is a necessary thought, a useful thought, you could say. It organizes your life. I have to do groceries today, and I have to get rice and bread and some vegetables. I have 10 o'clock appointment tomorrow with the dentist. The children have to go to camp on Friday, and I have to bring them. These are thoughts of organizing your day, structurizing your day so that things can go smoothly. But we don't need thousands and thousands of those thoughts to go about our day. So, what are all those other thoughts about? Many times, a useful or a necessary thought is repeated. I have to do groceries. I have to do groceries. I have to buy bread and rice and veggies. I have to do groceries. I should not forget to go to the groceries. And then when I go to the groceries, what happened? I forget. I forget rice and bread. So that thought that is initially necessary becomes a useless thought by repeating it 20 times. And then ultimately still forgetting it also to do. So those 19 thoughts were useless, was wasting my mental energy. So many useless thoughts, one area of useless thoughts is the cyclical thoughts that we have, the repetitive thoughts that we have. And it wastes my mental energy. So at the end of the day, we are tired, not because we did so much and achieved so much, but because we had tons of useless thoughts. We are like exhausted from all that thinking. So this is simple, basic discernment. This is a repetitive thought. It leads to nothing except making me tired. So why go in this? I need to do groceries, or I write in my agenda, or I whatever the list. That's it. I don't need to think. Other useless thoughts, other examples of useless thoughts are thoughts that have nothing to do with me, none of my business. Why did the neighbors buy a new car? Who cares? They will do anyway. What I think or not think doesn't matter anyway. How they spend their money, why they dress like that. Look at this. Why people this, why people. Absolute waste. And nothing to do with my life. All gossip falls in that area. Mm, Useless thinking, wasting your mental energy. This is simple to discern. We just need to reflect, pay attention, and think for ourselves. Is this bringing benefit to me or to others, now or in the future? Then it is useful, or it may even be positive. If it is uplifting for myself and if it's uplifting for others, now or in the future, then it is useful or maybe positive even. If it is degrading, if it brings me down, if it makes me sad or it makes me dysfunctional or it makes me violent or angry, then it is a negative thought, a destructive thought. Or if it creates sorrow in me or in others, now or in the future, it is a degrading thought. Within the category of positive thoughts, so you have four, no? Useful, useless. And extreme useless easily goes to negative or destructive. And you have positive thoughts. Within the category of positive thoughts, you have a special category, which is called elevated thoughts or spiritual thoughts. Thoughts that are spiritually uplifting. Thoughts of seeing a bigger picture. Thoughts of taking into consideration the soul. Meditation is about consciously choosing spiritual thoughts. So when you break, you say, okay, there's a whole day going on, whatever, boss and work and groceries and children. You take a break after 2 hours, 5 minutes, to as if reconnect again, recharge. What is the quality of my thinking? What thoughts do I hold? Let go of the waste. At least let go of the waste. Think more useful, think more positive, and maybe even create some few spiritual thoughts to connect you to a higher aim. Hmm? So, you wanted to say something? Okay, let's do an exercise and then again a round of questions. So again, for a few moments, let us withdraw our attention from the external and from everything that has happened today, and just become aware of this moment. Become aware of the atmosphere in this room, for example. Become aware of the position of your body and consciously let the body be tension-free. Become aware of the heartbeat. And how the heart pumps the blood to the different organs of the body. And just be for a moment. Not thinking all kinds of thoughts, just be in the awareness of this moment and the body and the rhythm of the breath. Consciously inhale and be aware of how the air is pulled into the lungs on inhalation and how the air is pushed out of the lungs on exhalation. Become aware of the muscles of your face. Now, if there is a relaxed expression on the face, or is there a smile on the face, or is there tension? And now also become aware of the one who is experiencing the body and the bodily sensations, the inner being. The one who is sitting behind the eyes, invisible, but using the eyes as windows. The one who is using the ears to hear, using the vocal cords to speak and make sound. The inner being, the being of consciousness, the soul. And we can use the image of light, a tiny star, to visualize that inner being, the real self, the soul. Tiny star in the center of the forehead, just behind the eyes. The real self is light. Pure, silent, light. And just hold these kinds of thoughts in your mind for a minute or so. The real self, the spirit, the soul, is conscious, living light. Free, timeless, living light. And as we gradually come to the end of this meditation, we can choose to hold these thoughts in our mind and hold this awareness as we go through the rest of the evening. Awareness of self as light, a visitor in this physical world, a guest in this body. Thank you. How is the concentration now? Good. Better, less, same? Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah. Just to observe, to create more awareness of what is going on in our own inner world. The present condition of human beings is that we are very extrovert and very externally oriented. A spiritual journey makes us more aware also of what is going on inside, and consciously choosing the quality of your thoughts. Many of us live from the outside in. What happens outside, that is how I feel inside. What they say, that is what they think. It's very unbalanced. No? And to begin to live from the inside out, you are more aware of what is going on inside, and you choose what you hold and what you cherish in your mind. And from there, you choose to talk or act or respond. Okay, any thoughts, any questions you want to maybe say now?
Yeah, on the last one, I think, like, I was personally over mine. Sometimes I feel like I find myself thinking, I think I have the intellect to know, like, this is it or that thought, but I think it's like how I stop the thoughts.
Yeah, how to, yeah. Yeah.
And then there's this other piece of like feelings and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes like whether it's joy or sadness or peace or love or you know like anger, it's sometimes the feelings begets thoughts and thoughts beget feelings. So I guess one like there's mastering the awareness of what's happening so you can take a step back.
Yeah.
But I think like when I try to put it all together, it becomes kind of difficult to
So what to do with an overactive mind? One part of the questions, and another part is what is the relationship with thoughts and feelings, and how to manage that. Yeah. Intellect and mind. Yeah, it is more for didactic purposes also that you separate it, but they function, how to say, uh, together all the time. No? To begin to understand these detailed dynamics in our consciousness, it is useful to simplify things. And maybe we'll go to the board. It might help to explain. Just a simple map of consciousness. And then from there, you can observe and learn more about your own. Yeah, Ravi. It's better, easier to see this side. So, a simple map of our kingdom. So, you can say, this soul is the king, and what is our kingdom? So we have said the soul, the being, the inner being, we use the symbol of light. No, that is the symbol of the soul to help us understand that it's not the body. An invisible being of consciousness that gets symbolized as light. And so we are that living, conscious light. Of course, there's no face, but just to indicate living experiencer, the invisible experiencer. Hmm? And then we have three main big functions that are also invisible. And one is the mind. And the mind is like a stage. Thoughts come on the stage. And the actors come on the stage, and the actors are thoughts. And we have different type of thoughts, we said, no? Positive, negative, useful, useless, and elevated ones. So some are not so useful, some are destructive. But at any one time, only one thought can be center stage, can have as if the spotlight on it. But we think so fast, so it changes. The spotlight changes on other things all the time if we don't have the reins of the mind. So a thought is, oh, I want to go meditate. I also want ice cream. Why this light is like that? Why people sitting like that? Cars outside making noise. Where is the bathroom? I'm thirsty. What will I eat afterwards? I hope dinner is ready. Can I get a pizza? You know, this mind goes on and on and on. All kinds of thoughts are there. And many of these thoughts are at random, all kinds, whatever. But at any moment in time, we only have one thought. But it jumps to the next, and it jumps to the next, and it jumps to the next. Now, every thought has its own, you could say, like world within it. Every thought carries with it a certain feeling and a certain emotion and a certain vibration and a certain attitude and a certain atmosphere. But often we think so fast that this rest of the team, you could say, of that thought are not allowed to flourish and expand. And what you do with meditation is you put one thought or one series of similar thoughts, thoughts around the same theme that create similar feelings, that create a similar vibrations and a certain similar atmosphere. And then you fill your mind with, for example, what we had been doing with thoughts of relaxation and thoughts of stillness and light. And so the mind becomes filled with just those type of thoughts. And a certain feeling comes of relaxation, of silence, of stillness, of peace. And a certain atmosphere fills the mind for those moments. So this is what happens in your mind. And now an overactive mind just means lots of thoughts going on and lots of different thoughts, thoughts that not necessarily are about one specific theme, many different things all over the place. So what will this look like? Like some noodle soup, you know. And if the thoughts are very fast, then it doesn't even allow feelings to emerge. So that is why sometimes people say, I can't feel, I'm just thinking too much in my head. There's no, I can't get into a more experiential mode. So the one way to what is it, to clear up, to clean up your feelings is to think less, to choose the types of thoughts you want and allow them to sit in your mind for a while. And then the feelings connected with that topic will start emerging. It's simple. If you think of a day that you were hanging out with your friends, having a good time on the beach with the sunset, and there was a nice atmosphere. And if you have only thoughts of that scene, you will start to feel certain feelings. And if you really concentrate, you may even feel the breeze that was there on the beach and see the sunset that was happening and hear the wind and the waves. All you can do this with your mind. But for your mind to do that, you need a clear, clean, wise intellect. An intellect that has the strength to choose the thoughts and hold those thoughts in the moment. If you have a confused intellect or a, what, unconscious intellect, or what is it, drunk, then it can't steer the mind. And then we have the subconscious. In the subconscious, we have impressions from the past, for example, past experiences, past feelings, past longings, past thought patterns and habits and inclinations and preferences. And if the intellect is not steering, then those past memories will steer, or past impressions or past inclinations. So, for example, you had just yeah. So, say for example, you had the experience of eating ice cream. This summer it was hot. You had good what, chocolate chip ice cream, hanging out with your friends, and you had two ice cream. Good experience. That impression is here. So it is hot again. Intellect is not in charge. What will happen? I want ice cream. Where is ice cream? It was so good to have ice cream. Let me get some ice cream again. Let me just type in. Go ahead. Mm. Mhm. Yeah. Uh, First of all, you should be more aware that this is what is happening. Mm. And then you use the intellect to shift the topic or choose something that you are interested in thinking about. And if sometimes it is so overwhelming that you cannot guide it, or intellect doesn't have enough strength to do that. One thing that helps is to do some intense sport. go jogging or swimming, where the body is very physically active, the thoughts here naturally are less. And there's such focus on the physical activity that this also becomes less dominant. If it doesn't, it means there is a disbalance that needs more serious addressing. And if it really is completely out of control that you can't function, then it becomes in the area of psychological and psychiatric. And then it just needs chemical intervention, which we're trying to avoid. By having this more balanced. And this is why there is useful to have power of intellect, and you strengthen the intellect through reflection, time in silence, meditation, and through spiritual wisdom, not information. Now, information that you find on internet and chat and whatever, GPT and all of that. But wisdom, you fill your mind with a perspective on self and on life. You fill your intellect with your purpose and your aim. And reflect that things don't go out of hand. Because yes, there may be a unpleasant memory or impressions from the past, but it is not your whole life. It is not your whole existence. But the weak intellect says, oh, that kind of thing, as if there is nothing else. But first thing is put things in perspective. Strengthen the intellect. Then it can govern the subconscious also wisely. And what is interesting is more you do that, you create new impressions. You create new memories. You create new inclinations that are more healthy. Whilst if you live from those old memories and old inclination and old, they just become more and more and more strong. And then there is another area, another part of the kingdom is the body with the five senses. You see, I did not put nose, you smell, you taste, you touch, and you hear. Now, if the intellect is not in charge, so to say, then what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, what we hear creates thoughts in our mind. Not only what we experience from the past or impressions or inclinations or habits or addictions even that are there. They rule the mind or our senses. All of that, yeah, all of that is building the intellect. But simplify to say, anytime you're seeing a bigger perspective on things, you are as if strengthening the intellect. A weak intellect is always limited, 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 sees things in a very limited context. And of course, a spiritual perspective, that would be like a wise intellect. And a spiritual perspective sees the invisible and the visible and knows that both are in. This is visible, this is invisible, but both are there. But to ignore this and only pay attention to this and what is around this is very, very disbalanced. Okay. Time flies as always. Let's do one more exercise. So a mind that is meditating is a mind that focuses on spiritual thoughts. and aims to hold those thoughts in the mind to create a deeper experience. And then that will become the impression in the subconscious. Okay. So again, we take some pause. And a simple way to become aware of this moment here and now and withdraw your attention from all these other things is to just become aware of the rhythm of your breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And allow the body to relax also. And come back to the awareness of the invisible experiencer, the soul. The real self. I am this timeless being of light, free, playful, benevolent, peaceful, living light. And just immerse the mind in this stillness, in this sweet silence. In this refined sense of freedom to choose what to think for however long I want to. Your innocent, innately divine, living light. This is who I truly am. Thank you. And Om Shanti. Mm. Okay. Well, this is just to give a little bit of a taste of what is possible when you become a master of your inner kingdom, your kingdom. Okay. Just a short announcement. Next Friday, we have a special program in Central Park. So you are most welcome. It is Friday, 25th, July 25th, from 12 to 6. You can come by any time with different booths in the Naumburg Bandshell in Central Park. There's a flyer on the desk if you are interested, with different booths and performances on the stage, dance and uh, uh, musical performances also, all around the soul, all around peace. The title of the event is Peace in the Park. Okay, so most welcome for that. And every Thursday we have these sessions with different topics. Thank you. Good night.